going on, guys? We're back from the video of the first Descendant, and today, guys, I'm going to be showing you guys my updated build guide for Ultimate Gley. Now, I'm not going to waste too much of your time here. We're going to get straight into the video and show you guys what you should be running on top of Gley to make her as optimal as possible. I do ask because these videos take such a long time to create and make as best and optimal for you guys that you guys do hit that like button if you enjoy the content and subscribe if you're new. It really helps me a lot in growing my channel. Without further ado, let's go straight into the build, guys. So the first things first, we're going to talk about her reactor. Now, I have this Python mounting because we are using this reactor for her massacre. Her massacre, we want to be using Python, which we'll get into in a minute, because it has one of the fastest fire rates in the game. Now, we want this reactor to have 9 attribute skill power and dimensional skill power boost. And this is where it kind of stays locked. I'm going to say this right now. You need skill cooldown. I don't want people commenting down in the section saying, yo, my cooldown isn't as fast as yours. I don't know why. Your cooldown is only this fast is if you have a cooldown reactor. You cannot get the cooldown that I have without the cooldown reactor. So make sure you have a non-attribute reactor with Python mounting that has cooldown on it. Now, your second option is a little bit flex. You don't need a god roll. I was using this reactor before I got the one I'm using currently right now, but the best in slot next mod would be additional skill attack against Colossus. This is going to make you do more damage with your massacre. Preferably getting this in gold will matter more than getting anything else in gold. Like skill cooldown, if you get it in blue or higher, it's going to be fine no matter what. So don't worry too much about that. You really just want additional skill power against Colossus to be in gold if you can. Moving on to external components, we're running a full set of the Annihilation set simply because the Annihilation set is literally made for Gley. It not only gives us duration, which we need to increase our V and make it actually 100%, it also increases our damage based on how much health we have. So if we're 50% or lower, we get a 26% increase on our overall damage. This is huge, especially when we're using Massacre, because you should be using Massacre when you're at 50% or lower, because this is going to benefit you the most. Moving on to weapons that you should be using with Massacre, and that is going to be Python. Python is going to be your best option because it is just a ripper. It shoots so quick. Now, there is another option I wanted to go ahead and bring up because a lot of people were asking me about this, and that is Blue Blood Bloomer. Now, this is technically the fastest RPM in the game, but it does not fall in line with Python and overall DPS. I still think Python is a better option, but granted, you can build Blue Blood Bloomer to be as almost good as Python if you do have it already invested in. Moving on to the mods that we do have on our Python. Now, this is nowhere near fully maxed out. I'm not waiting on Catalyst in order to make it do more damage, but this is just covering the general of what you should be using. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about this mod right here, Sharp Precision Shot. Now, what this does is when firing the trigger, it increases our fire rate by 4%. And recoil by 5%, and it also gives us an attack increase by 6% every 0.5 seconds up to 10 stacks. Now, this is going to allow us to shoot faster. Now, a lot of people are asking, why not run Mental Focus? Now, Mental Focus is technically more damage, but the reason that Precision Shot is better in my opinion is you're getting the damage out way faster than Mental Focus could ever do. Not only do you have to get the prerequisites of getting 150 stacks before the boss spawns, you also shoot way slower than you do with this. And if you ever, for instance, get hit by an ad or something like that, or you have to res and then you lose your cooldown of 150 stacks with Mental Focus, it's a lot harder to get 150 stacks than getting 9. So or 10, sorry. It is really just a better mod in my opinion. Now, if you're doing boss fights where you are prolonging the boss fight and it's not really a fast clear, Mental Focus is going to be in turn more damage and it's going to be better. But if you're just trying to kill bosses as fast as possible and they're not like Gluttony or anything like that, you should be using Sharp Precision Shot. That's the difference between the two. I wanted to explain it a little bit, but yeah, that's how it works. Moving on to the builds. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, I have 3 builds I want to go over here. We have my group play build, which is a little different from my solo play and gun booster, which we'll get into in a minute. But my group play build is taking advantage of you being in a group, meaning that you're not solo. You have 2 to 4 players in your team. So the boss is going to have way more health and you're 9 times out of 10 not going to kill it anyways. And within like 30 seconds. So solo is not going to be very good. So let's go ahead and talk about the Descendant mod that we are using. This is Massive Signification. Pretty much what this does, it modifies our second ability. Our second ability is now modified into a little life steal. So your first, when you're not in frenzy, so when we're not using our first ability, when our hair is not white, it's going to life steal health. What this means is when there's enemies near you, it's going to take health from them and give it to you. Now, when you are in frenzied mode, what this is going to do is it's going to take your health and it's going to give you 3 life orbs. And these 3 life orbs can be used to pop Massacre. This is the main reason why we're using Massive Signification, is in order to get Massacre instantly. This is the best Transcendent mod for Massacre. You should not be using any Transcendent mod for Massacre. Nothing even comes close. Moving on to the first mod that we're going to be using, that is Spear and Shield. Spear and Shield is going to give us a 89.8% increase on our overall defense, and it's also going to give us skill power. Skill power is going to increase our damage, so that's why we're running this. Moving on to the next mod, we're running HP Collector. This is when defeating an enemy, instantly recovers 9% of our max HP. This is good for like when you're in a boss fight and it's like Gluttony where you need to heal and you're in Gley and you can't really heal any other way. So the only way you can heal is by killing an ad. This is just going to give you some health and make you more tanky. Moving on to the next mod is Stim Accelerant. This is going to give us a 234% increase in HP at a cost of 15% of our max mana. Now Gley doesn't use mana. She only uses health, so this actually doesn't hurt her at all. This only just buffs our health, so that's why we're running this. It just gives us a really nice chunk of health, and the more health you have on Gley, the more abilities you can use, and the longer you'll stay alive. Moving on to the next mod we have is going to be increased health. For the same reasons I stated in this mod, is we just want as much tankiness and as much ability spam as possible, and these 2 mods coupled together are going to give us that. Moving on to the next mod we're running is going to be her best in slot mod for skill cooldown, and this is going to be MP Conservation. This gives us a skill cooldown of negative 36.5% and a decrease of 15% of our max MP. Like I stated earlier with Stim Accelerant, we don't have a mana bar, so this actually doesn't hurt us. We're just getting a 36.5% decrease in our skill cooldown for free, pretty much. Moving on, we're running 2 damage dealing things right here. We're running Focus on non-attribute, and we're running this because it gives us non-attribute skill power, and the skill cooldown is very nice. We're also running Focus on Dimension because Massacre is a dimensional ability. This is going to give us dimensional skill power and also give us skill cooldown. We're also running Skill Extension for that skill duration to keep our V up 100% of the time. As you see right here, I have a 7.8 second cooldown and a 8.1 second duration, so we're having our V up constantly. The next mod we're running is an Outstanding Investment. This gives us skill duration. This is just going to feed more into our V, and it also gives us HP heal. Now, a lot of people actually don't know what HP heal means. Pretty much what this means, every time you pick up a health pack, it's going to give you more HP off pickups. And that's good because that's the only way we can actually get health on Gley. So this is going to help us out a lot. And the last and final mod we're going to be running is Nimble Fingers. This is going to decrease our cooldown by 25.6% just to keep our V up 100% of the time. Now, this build is going to be your best bet for any group play builds, any boss fights that are required 4 people. This is what you should be running. Now, there is some things that we're going to switch around and we're going to talk about in a minute for the solo play build for more of a glass cannon-y, like, oh, the boss is weak, ends to death. You know what I mean? So we're going to get into that right now. So with solo, we're using Massive Signification, and I'm just going to say this right now. A lot of these mods are going to be the same thing. We're only going to change around 2 mods, so you're going to see a lot of similarities. Running Experience Shield for the same reasons I stated earlier. We want that defense and we want that skill power. This is where we're changing stuff up and we're running Walk a Tightrope. Now, for instance, if a lot of people like myself, where they don't really think they need HP Collector, you can switch this mod out and group play for Walk a Tightrope, and that's just going to give you more raw damage. But this is going to be your more survivable build right here. Walk a Tightrope reads when 50% or lower, skill power modifier 30% up, and a firearm attack 30% up. So we're getting a plus 30% on our skill power and a plus 30% on our firearm attack, which actually both work on Massacre, giving us a 60% increase in our total damage. The next mod we're running is Battle of Stamina. This is another different mod that we're running. We're not really running a lot of HP mods, and the reason for this is we really want to be at 50% a lot of the time. And when you're running things like Stim Accelerant, and you have a total of 15,000 HP, it takes a long time to actually get to 50% HP. And this is why things like Battle of Stamina, yes, it still gives us HP, but it also gives us that duration. So we're going to have more time to actually use our V. And we actually are able to get below 50% because we're only at 12,000 HP. But it's also still high enough to where we're not getting one tapped by every single boss. We're also running increased HP for more survivability and tankiness. The next mod we're running is MP Conservation, the same as before. It just gives us raw skill cooldown and it's easy to put on. Focus on non-attribute and focus on dimension for that increased damage. Skill extension for that increased duration. An outstanding investment for more duration and HP heal. And nimble fingers. The only difference between these two builds is going to be HP Collector and Stem Accelerant. These two builds are pretty much identical, but solo is going to be built for more damage over a sustained period and having less HP, while group play is going to have more HP and more survivability with a little bit less damage. Now, finally, the last build I wanted to go ahead and talk about, and this is where we're going to talk about changing a different reactor. We want to run a different reactor when we're running a gun booster reactor because we're not really using any of her abilities. So getting this additional skill power is not going to do anything because we're not using her abilities. This is where I would recommend getting a skill duration up and a skill cooldown, because this is just going to allow us to do more damage without having to spray V as much. So we're able to do more. So let's go ahead and talk about this build. Now we're using a different Transcendent mod. We're using a Transcendent mod called Predator Instinct. What this does is it modifies our first ability and allows us to use it while using the firearm while in frenzy, gradually increases firearm attack. So pretty much what this means is when we're in our frenzied mode, when we press our Q and our hair is white, the longer we shoot, the more damage we're going to get. Now this stacks up to 2 times and it is about a 22% increase in overall damage. So this is just going to buff our gun damage. The first mod we're going to be running on this build is going to be Shield Conservation, because this is just built for tankiness and HP, because we're not really worried about like skill power, because we are only building for a gun, not skill power. This is going to give us more defense and less shields, but like I said, Gley does not have shields, so we don't really have to worry about that negative. Next, we're running Walk a Tightrope. Now, this is one thing that I was thinking to myself, like, yes, this is best in slot mod, but with this build, we're around 8,000 HP, so it's a lot easier to get Walk a Tightrope proccing. So we're going to be at getting that 30% increase in our firearm attack very frequently with this build. The next mod we're running is Increased HP, just for more survivability. Nothing really else to say about that. And this is going to be an interesting mod. I know a lot of people in the comment section are going to hate me for this, but pretty much this mod is shot focused. Now, this mod drops specifically and only from combining Solarian mods. Now, the drop rate on this mod is very low. It took me about 4 days to actually get this mod to drop, of solely grinding Solarian mods. Trust me, I was losing my mind over this mod, so I understand the struggle. But this mod is so good for this build because we're getting a firearm attack increase and a skill power decrease. But the good thing about it is that we're not really using any of our abilities, so it actually doesn't affect us at all. And we're only getting the increases of the firearm attack. The next mod we're running is a familiar mod as with the other two builds, and that is MP Conservation. We need this for the skill cooldown because, like I said earlier, we still need to keep our V up 100% of the time. That's why we're running these two mods right here, Focus on Non-Attribute and Focus on Dimension. It kind of sucks because you kind of have to run these mods to get 100% uptime on her V. These mods are kind of wasted because, like I said, we're not really using any of our abilities. These are only here to actually increase our cooldown enough to where we get our V ability up fast enough. So that's why we're running these two. We're also running Skill Extension for more skill duration, Maximize Duration for even more duration at a cost of skill power modifier, but like I said, we're not using any of our abilities, so this actually doesn't hurt us at all. And the last and final mod we are going to be running is Nimble Fingers. This is going to give us a skill cooldown. So yeah, that's going to cover all of the builds for Gley. Now, there is some things that could make this a little bit better. Well, your damage is only going to get better if you fully max out your Python for Massacre. Now, for the gun booster, I use Greg's, and my Greg's Gley build is actually not finished. I'm kind of waiting for the Catalyst, and if you guys would watch my other video on Greg's Fate, you would know why I haven't Catalyst this slot already, and that's simply because I'm waiting for the Catalyst change to happen. Now, that's going to cover my build guide for Gley. Now, if you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. Now, if you guys like this video and like to see me post more content like this, it does take a very, very long time to grind these videos because First Descendant is very grindy. So if you guys appreciate the grind and would like to see more content like that, make sure you hit this thumbs up button to know that I actually enjoy this content. And make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're new. I would love to see some new faces up in the comment section, new players being helped out, old players being helped out. It just makes me happy to see new players actually get better at the game. Without further ado, my name is Noxy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.